Ever wondered what pilots are actually doing during takeoff? It's not just sitting back and relaxing, there's a lot happening up front. When you're seated and feeling the rumble of the engines, the pilots are engaged in a well-orchestrated dance of checks and communications. First, as the plane taxis to the runway, pilots review the takeoff checklist. This is like a chef double-checking their ingredients before cooking. They confirm that everything is in order, from the fuel levels to the cabin pressure. If anything isn't right, they can adjust before the plane even leaves the ground. And here's the surprising part. Pilots are constantly communicating with air traffic control. Imagine a busy intersection where cars need to coordinate to avoid collisions. Pilots receive instructions on when to take off, which runway to use, and any changes in flight paths. This communication ensures safety and efficiency even before the plane accelerates. As the plane approaches the runway, the pilots perform final checks. They adjust flaps, which are like the wings' brakes, helping the airplane lift off smoothly. It's a crucial step because flaps change the wing's shape and allow for better lift at lower speeds. When the plane is cleared for takeoff, both pilots work together to push the throttles forward. This is like stepping on the gas pedal in a car, and it unleashes the full power of the engines. They monitor the instruments closely, watching for any changes. So while you're buckled in and excited, remember, the pilots are fully engaged, ensuring a safe and smooth takeoff. It's a critical moment, and they're right there making it all happen. What do pilots do before the plane even moves? It might surprise you to know that they conduct thorough pre-flight checks. Think of it like a chef making sure all the ingredients are ready before cooking a meal. You wouldn't want to start making a cake without checking if you have flour, eggs, and sugar, right? Before takeoff, pilots go through a detailed checklist that covers everything from the engines to the emergency equipment. This process is incredibly important for safety and efficiency. They inspect the aircraft systems, just like a mechanic would check a car before a long drive. If any issues arise, they can address them before the plane takes off. Here's the surprising part. This isn't just a quick glance around. Pilots often spend around 30 minutes on these pre-flight checks, ensuring that all systems are functioning properly. They communicate with ground crew to confirm that the fuel levels are correct and that any necessary maintenance has been completed. It's a collaborative effort, like a well-rehearsed team in a kitchen. Once everything is double-checked, the pilots review the flight plan. They take into account weather conditions, air traffic, and the route ahead. This preparation helps them anticipate challenges, making the flight smoother and safer for everyone on board. So what do pilots do before takeoff? They meticulously prepare and ensure everything is in top shape, just like a chef making sure all the ingredients are ready for a perfect meal. This thorough check is a key part of what makes flying incredibly safe. If you're curious about what comes next in the takeoff process, stay tuned. Once everything is set, pilots reach out to air traffic control, or ATC. You can think of this like getting directions before you start a road trip. Just as you wouldn't want to hit the road without knowing the best route, pilots rely on ATC to guide them safely into the skies. When a pilot contacts ATC, they're checking in to confirm that everything is clear for takeoff. The controller on the other end has a bird's-eye view of the entire airport and surrounding airspace. They monitor all aircraft, much like a traffic cop at a busy intersection. This communication helps ensure that planes don't get too close to each other, making flying incredibly safe. Here's the surprising part. ATC provides more than just permission to take off. They also inform pilots about any other aircraft in the area, potential weather issues, or even runway conditions. Picture it like getting updates on road construction and traffic jams before you set out. If there are delays or diversions, the pilots can adjust their plans to avoid complications. During this interaction, pilots use a special language filled with codes and phrases that keep things clear and efficient. For example, they might say "cleared for takeoff," which means they have the green light to roll down the runway. This jargon might sound strange, but it helps minimize misunderstandings in the high-stakes environment of aviation. With the go-ahead from ATC, pilots are ready for the next step, accelerating down the runway. Thanks to these communications, they know they're not just taking off, they're doing so safely and with confidence. So next time you fly, remember that pilots are guided by skilled professionals on the ground, ensuring a smooth path into the sky. And if you're curious about what happens next during takeoff, stick around. As the plane starts its takeoff roll, pilots enter a critical phase of flying. They actively monitor the aircraft's speed and engine performance. Imagine yourself in a car, feeling the rush as you press the accelerator, that pushback in your seat. It's similar to what passengers experience when a plane picks up speed. During this roll, the pilots are focused on a few key indicators. One of the most important is called V1, the speed at which the aircraft can no longer stop safely on the runway. They have to make quick decisions. If they reach V1 and something goes wrong, they continue the takeoff. If issues arise before V1, they can safely abort. Here's the surprising part. While it may feel like the engines are roaring and you're racing down the runway, the pilots are also paying close attention to how the plane feels. The control yoke, which is like the steering wheel of the aircraft, gives them feedback about how the plane is responding. If the plane feels smooth and stable, that's a good sign. They might need to make adjustments before lifting off. And let's not forget the engines. Pilots are monitoring the engine performance closely. Similar to how a driver checks the car's gauges, they want to ensure everything is operating well. This is a time of intense focus, but the safety systems are designed to support them. Flying is incredibly safe thanks to these procedures. So, as you feel that gentle pushback in your seat, rest assured that everything is going according to plan. Curious about what happens next as the plane lifts off? Stick around. Once the plane reaches a specific speed, it's time for a pivotal moment. The rotation. This is when pilots gently pull back on the control yoke, which steers the plane's nose upward. Think about riding a bicycle up a hill. When you tilt your bike forward to gain momentum, you lift the front wheels slightly off the ground. That's rotation. The plane needs to reach a certain speed, known as the takeoff speed, before this can happen. Each aircraft has its own unique speed, depending on its weight and design. For most commercial jets, this happens at speeds between 140 and 180 knots, which is about 160 to 210 miles per hour. And here's the surprising part. The pilots aren't just randomly pulling back on the yoke. They're following a carefully calculated checklist and monitoring various instruments to ensure everything is just right. It's a bit like a chef checking the oven temperature before putting in a soufflé. Precision matters. As the nose lifts, the aircraft begins to leave the ground, and there's a sensation of weightlessness. The engines are roaring, and you can feel the thrust pushing you back into your seat. This is normal and reassuring. The plane's wings are designed to create lift as they move through the air, just like how an airplane wing slices through the wind to generate the necessary upward force. Once airborne, the pilots smoothly transition into the climb phase. This is where they gain altitude, and the aircraft continues to ascend at a controlled rate. They're actively communicating with air traffic control to ensure a safe and efficient climb, just like a conductor guiding an orchestra, harmonizing all parts of the flight. So during rotation and climb, pilots skillfully navigate the transition from the ground to the sky, ensuring everything is safe and sound. There's a lot happening behind the scenes, but rest assured, it's all part of a well-practiced routine. What happens right after takeoff to ensure everything is running smoothly? As the aircraft soars into the sky, pilots conduct a series of final checks. This is their way of confirming that every system is operating as it should, keeping you safe and sound. Imagine you're driving a car. As you pull away from the curb, you might glance at your mirrors and gauges to make sure everything looks good. Pilots do something similar, but with a lot more complexity. Just after the wheels leave the ground, they switch their focus to the aircraft's instruments. They monitor things like engine performance, hydraulic systems, and the flight control surfaces. Here's the surprising part. These checks happen within just a few minutes. Pilots are trained to respond quickly. They verbally confirm the status of crucial systems with each other to ensure nothing is overlooked. They'll check that the landing gear is fully retracted and that the flaps are in the proper position for climbing. Just like a chef double-checking their recipe as they cook, pilots want to make sure every detail is just right before they settle into the cruise. It's also during this time that pilots communicate with air traffic control. They receive instructions on their flight path and altitude changes. This coordination is vital as it helps keep all aircraft safely separated in the sky. So, in those crucial moments after takeoff, pilots are diligently confirming that everything is functioning properly. This meticulous attention to detail is one of the many reasons flying is incredibly safe. If you ever catch yourself wondering about what pilots do during this phase, just know they are working hard to create a safe environment for everyone on board. If you'll never look at a plane the same way, you know what to do.